My name is Jamal McKinney, or you can just call me Juice because that is my nickname. Today, I am going over the top 5 young quarterbacks that I believe have a breakout season. Now, this list is just basically based on if I were to bet money in what order do I think these quarterbacks are going to be in as far as their the likelihood that they will have a season in which they burst onto the scene and put up godly numbers. Okay, so I'm just going to put up the list on your screen right now. Number 5, I have Daniel Jones. Number 4, I have Josh Allen. Number 3, I have Baker Mayfield. Number 2, Kyler Murray. And number 1, Drew Lock. Now I'm just going to kind of go over all the quarterbacks that I have on this list. I didn't include Dwayne Haskins. I think Dwayne Haskins has potential, but I think this is more of a growing year for him. You know, he's got to establish himself. Sam Darnold, I'm not sold. I don't think he has a lot of support around him. And Carson Wentz and Dak Prescott, they kind of already burst onto the scene. So, you know, I can't really put them on this list. And they're heading into their 5th season. So, out of all the young quarterbacks, I believe these 5 quarterbacks right here are the quarterbacks that you should bet your money on to potentially break out this season. And this is the order. So let's start at the top. I've been talking about Drew Lock a lot as of late. I know that. But as far as all the quarterbacks on this list, as far as what they have to work with on offense, you can make the argument that Drew Lock has the best supporting cast on offense out of all 5 of these quarterbacks. You know, I really do firmly believe that. And listen, Denver, they were a 7-win team last year. And half of their games, Joe Flacco started. And Joe Flacco deserves our respect. He's won a Super Bowl in the past. But ever since that Super Bowl, he's been doo-doo. He's not been a good quarterback. So look, a team that basically had Joe Flacco starting half their games somehow found a way to win 7 games last season. That's actually more than the Cleveland Browns. And Cleveland, you can make the argument, last year was a much more talented team than Denver. That says something. Listen, Drew Lock is going to ball out this year. I really do firmly believe that. I know he's only in his 2nd season, but we've seen Carson Wentz be an MVP candidate in his 2nd season. We've seen Patrick Mahomes win an MVP in his 2nd season. Lamar Jackson, he just won MVP. He was in his 2nd season. When you look at Courtland Sutton, he's a top 10 wide receiver in all football. They added Jerry Jeudy, the best route runner in the draft. In my eyes, a lot of people felt he was the best wide receiver in the draft. They got him with the 15th overall pick. KJ Hamler, he was one of the fastest players in the draft. Noah Fant was a very good, rookie tight end for them last year. He has the speed, and now you add Albert O as well, who was probably the fastest tight end in the draft. Not to mention, you add Melvin Gordon to a backfield that already had Philip Lindsay, and also they improved the offensive line. That's something that they need to address. Graham Glasgow is going to help improve the offensive line. Jawan James comes back from injury. Not to mention, he has Pat Shurmur as his offensive coordinator. I know that Pat Shurmur's not a great head coach, but you saw what he did for Daniel Jones last season. Daniel Jones put up a lot of numbers, with Pat Shurmur. Pat Shurmur allowed Case Keenum to have his best season when he was with the Vikings. So I believe Drew Lock is definitely your best bet as far as quarterbacks that are young to break out this season. Up next, I think that Kyler Murray has to be your guy. I just think Kyler Murray is a special quarterback. He just has those traits that you just can't teach. The arm talent, the accuracy, the ability to move on the run, his ability to run the football, his dynamic playmaking ability. And now you give Kyler Murray a top 3 wide receiver in all football, and his name is DeAndre Hopkins. Listen, DeAndre Hopkins is a perfect fit because I always felt that Christian Kirk was good, but not at number 1. Andy Isabella, he kind of struggled this year. I think that he's going to bounce back this year in his 2nd year with the system. He's got the speed, but not at number 1. Larry Fitzgerald is very reliable, but he's getting old. He's out of his prime. So now you give Kyler Murray that special go-to wide receiver that he can just throw the ball up to on 3rd and 10, 3rd and long, and watch Kyler Murray take off. He won Rookie of the Year last year. I think that Arizona is going to be one of the top 10 offenses this year. Kenyon Drake had a very good year at the running back position last season. They improved the offensive line by adding Josh Jones in the 3rd round. And listen, I think that Arizona is one of the more dark horse teams in the NFL. I think that Kyler Murray has a chance to win around 7 to 9 games this year. I really do firmly believe that. I think that Kyler Murray is going to take a big step this year. And let's also not forget, Kyler Murray, he played very well last season. And let's not forget, he only played really 1 full season of college football that was meaningful. At Oklahoma, he was a full-time starter for only one season. So Kyler Murray really still doesn't really know what the heck he's doing. Okay? Imagine when Kyler Murray gets even more experience. Imagine what he's going to be able to do, watching film this offseason. I also think that due to the fact that Kyler Murray is not going to have to learn a new system this year in a season in which we're dealing with a pandemic, I think that's key because a lot of, teams I think are going to struggle that have new coaching staffs, that have to install new offenses. So that's a plus. Baker Mayfield for me is up next at number 3. I've kind of given the Browns no longer the benefit of the doubt simply because I believed in them this past year and they let me down. The Browns had a disastrous season this past year. I expected them to make the playoffs. They did not. But I would be lying to you if I didn't admit that Baker Mayfield has one of the best supporting casts in the NFL. Austin Hooper comes in this year. They added him in free agency. He's going to be added to a running back, a tight end group with David Njoku. That's one of the best tight end groups in all of football. And Kevin Stefanski, their brand new head coach, loves to run 2 tight end sets. So that's going to be very beneficial to Baker Mayfield. They're going to get the ball in his hands very quickly. They've improved the offensive line with Jack Conklin and Jedrick Wills, who to me was the best offensive lineman in the 2020 NFL draft. Now you've got 2 legit tackles. They're going to be able to protect Baker Mayfield. Last year, the Cleveland Browns offensive line was not very good. That was a weakness on their team, so they addressed that. Not to mention he's got Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt as his running backs. And I didn't even get to Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham Jr. Odell Beckham Jr. is one of the 5 most talented wide receivers in all of football. Jarvis Landry had a great season for the Browns last year. And listen, I think that Kevin Stefanski is going to get the best out of Baker Mayfield. Kirk Cousins had a career year this past year with Kevin Stefanski as his offensive coordinator. Now, I don't want to go all out on the limb and say Baker Mayfield's going to have this amazing season quite yet. That's why I have him at number 3, simply because I don't quite know if Cleveland's a playoff team. I think they are. If I were to bet money today, they probably would make the playoffs. But at the same time, I think that Cleveland is going to run the ball with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. That's what Kevin Stefanski likes to do. He likes to run the ball a lot. So I don't think that Baker Mayfield is going to put up a ton of touchdowns, but I think he'll be efficient. He'll be a lot better in his 3rd season. And I like what Baker Mayfield has to work with. Okay, up next, Josh Allen at number 4. I'm not quite sold on Josh Allen as of right now, but at the same time, I think that Josh Allen has a very good team at his disposal, and I think that Buffalo is going to actually win around 11 or 12 games this year. I think they're at least a 10-win team, and Josh Allen improved tremendously this past year when you put in comparison what he looked like his rookie season. This past year, his completion percentage went up 6%. His passer rating, went up nearly 20 points. And now he has a legit number 1 option on his team in Stephon Diggs. Maybe not legit number 1 option, but at least a viable number 1 option. Stephon Diggs is one of the 10 to 15 best wide receivers in all of football. He's an excellent deep threat. He fits their offense. John Brown and Cole Beasley over-delivered this past season for the Bills. Now they're going to be your 2nd and 3rd options. That's going to open up the entire playbook for the Bills. Dawson Knox is a pretty solid tight end. He's got Devin Singletary in the backfield, along with Zach Moss, who they drafted out of Utah, who's a very good running back with the ball in his hands. And look, Josh Allen has a lot of talent. He has the big-time arm. He's got some, athleticism to his game, and I think that Josh Allen's going to have a pretty solid year. I think that I don't think that Josh Allen is going to throw for 30 touchdown passes this year. I don't think his counting stats will be all that great, simply because Buffalo likes to run the football a lot. They're more of a defensive-oriented team. Listen, Josh Allen still has a lot of things that he needs to work on, but I think he has a very good team. I will not be shocked if Josh Allen has a breakout season. And last but not least, Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones has to be last on this list simply because he has the worst supporting cast out of all these quarterbacks. Out of all the quarterbacks, he's got the most things that he has to overcome. He's got a rookie head coach in Joe Judge that I am not sure can coach. I'm not sold on Joe Judge as of right now. I'm not going to write him off simply because I don't know what Joe Judge is. We have not seen him coach yet. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say, okay, let's just see what we have with Joe Judge. Let's not go out here and say he's going to be a terrible head coach because we just haven't seen him coach yet. But at the same time, I have my questions about Joe Judge. I did not think he was the right hire for the Giants. Jason Garrett, at first I liked the Jason Garrett hire, but I didn't love his play calling in Dallas. and what makes me think that he's going to be this great play caller with the Giants. So I'm not quite sold on Daniel Jones' coaching staff, but Daniel Jones, despite his bad coaching last year for Pat Shurmur, I know Pat Shurmur's a good offensive mind, but he's not a good head coach. Daniel Jones threw 24 touchdown passes to only 12 interceptions, and that was with Saquon Barkley hurt most of the season. Evan Ingram missed games, Golden Tate missed games, not to mention he had a bad defense to work with. His offensive line was very shaky last year, and Daniel Jones continued to put up numbers. He was the bright spot for the New York Giants this past season. And listen, Daniel Jones put up 24 touchdown passes in only 12 games played. If you prorate his stats, he actually is going to break Baker Mayfield's rookie touchdown pass record from this past season. Now, he does need to clean up his fumbling issues, but Daniel Jones has some promise. I have to admit that. And I could see Daniel Jones being on a bad team this year, because I think that the New York Giants actually have the 4th worst roster in their own division after Washington added those great players on defense this offseason, and Dallas and Philadelphia are just better flat out. But Daniel Jones has some decent options at his disposal. Evan Ingram is one of the most dynamic weapons in all of football with the ball in his hands at the tight end position. Darius Slayton showed a lot of promise as a rookie. Saquon Barkley is arguably one of the 3 best running backs in all of football. Some people think that he's the best running back in football. I think that he and Christian McCaffrey and Ezekiel Elliott can bow it out for that title. But either way, when Daniel Jones' supporting cast is healthy, it's a pretty solid group. Not to mention, you improve the offensive line by adding Andrew Thomas this year, in the draft. So Daniel Jones has some stuff that I like. I think that he has potential, but I won't bet on Daniel Jones to have the best breakout season, simply because I don't know if his coaching staff is going to get the most out of him. And he's got a new coaching staff, like I said. And I just think that out of all 5 of these quarterbacks, he's got the least to work with. So I would not bet on Daniel Jones to have a breakout season, but among all the young quarterbacks, he at least has to be on this list. So there you have it right there. Those are the 5 quarterbacks that I think are going to potentially break out this year. If I were to bet money, Drew Lock is the best bet to break out. Number 2 is Kyler Murray. Number 3, Baker Mayfield. Number 4, Josh Allen. And number 5, Daniel Jones. Thank you so much for watching this video today. Please also note that the Juiciest Sports Podcast is not just a YouTube channel. It is available on all podcasting platforms, including Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this content with all your friends. This podcast is my favorite thing in the entire world right now. It is my passion. And I want more people to listen to this podcast. I really want this podcast to grow. Also, a fun fact about me is that I want to go into the sports broadcasting and media world once I graduate from the University of Toledo, a college in Northern Ohio. I currently am a freshman there right now. I am looking to become one of the next great sports broadcasters and analysts out in the world. And I potentially would like to start my own network if this podcast really truly grows. Or if I fall short of that goal, I would love to work for a big-time network like ESPN or Fox Sports 1. I am open to all networks. So if you believe in my dreams and you see or hear my passion through the screen, be sure to tell all your friends about the Juiciest Sports Podcast. Stay motivated, you guys. Have a God bless day, and I'm out.